The AFC South, baby.
I almost just flung
We're
off
rocking.
my headset. Did you see that? Little too into it, I guess. That fucking song hits every time and I get
does.
goosebumps.
It gets the
every
blood flowing.
time. Anyway, we'll start with the AFC South. Same structure as the last handful of shows. We're going to talk about division winners, possible playoff teams, fantasy notes when possible. Even if there's some card notes, we'll throw it in there. Well, we do know that today. We definitely have some card stuff for you.
Oh, yeah.
And not a live stream, so we're not going to have fan questions to answer. But just to clarify, everybody, before we go right into it, we will be having a live stream next week on Monday. We will announce the time early, likely on Sunday at some point. We'll announce the time, and we'll re-announce it on Monday again. That'll be our only live stream next week due to some scheduling conflicts. But going forward after that, we will be doing 2 live streams a week during football season, and it's going to be a permanent time slot, which is to be determined. So there will be no confusion anymore about our times. We were experimenting for a reason. All right? So that's that. And now?
Well said, Mike.
I mean,
Well said. Way to be informative.
we're always trying to be informational here. P&I is doing things here, all right?
Absolutely.
P&I's everywhere. Anyway, AFC South. So we have already kind of briefed this a little bit in the past, but now it's interesting because where to start? We were thinking, all right, the Tennessee Titans might run away with this thing now because Carson Wentz is hurt, Quentin Nelson's hurt, and they might not be back for a number of weeks. Well, they're back.
Oh, yeah.
They're back. They're slinging a heavy pickle. They're like, I got a healthy foot. Both of them say that. So
Yeah, they're practicing.
they're both practicing this week. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. They're back. The
Quick
Eagles
turnaround.
The Eagles' first round pick is still looking like it's a possibility.
Major.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
But I genuinely want to see Carson Wentz succeed. I think the Colts are a sleeper team this year. So we're going to go right into the Colts first. We'll talk about who we think is going to win the division at the end of the segment. But yeah, the Colts, storylines. So we just talked about the injuries. That was huge. Big deal. New offensive and defensive coordinators. All right? They lose Nick Sirianni to the Eagles. They lose, what's his name? Jonathan Gannon to the Eagles as well. He went with them. So that's a big deal. Okay? Can the defense be as good as last year? That's another storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're a bunch of no-name guys. Not a lot of people know all these players, but they're a very consistent group, and they really broke out in a big way last year. They only lost a couple pieces. So
It's
they
an interesting team overall.
really
honestly.
interesting. So, I mean, now that we know that those guys aren't going to be missing time, man, we should probably just brief the players real quick. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz. My God, does news follow him these days? Philly's still like chirping him constantly, 24/7 on Twitter. Even when he was hurt, it's like, oh, I don't understand. There's just a crazy obsession. This guy was the Messiah just 3 years ago, 2 years ago even, and he's now like one of the most polarizing NFL figures. What do you think Carson's going to do this year?
I'll be honest, man. I think he's going to have a good year if he can stay healthy. Like, he's a dark horse to stay healthy. Like,
You've said that before.
Yeah, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He's a dark horse to stay healthy. But if he can stay healthy, the Colts are a legit Super Bowl threat. They have the roster. They got the wide receivers. They have the running game, the offensive line, the defense. I think they're stacked. I think Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be a sleeper fantasy option. I think he's a sleeper card option as well. I mentioned that on previous episodes. I just like how they're built, man. You know, I know they have a new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, but the talent's still there.
That team drafts so well, and they've just been so properly constructed by Chris Ballard, one of the best GMs in the league. I just want to throw that out there.
He's awesome. He knows how to work the salary cap to make the team much better than what they were, you know? So I'm high on them. I'm surprised, you know, they didn't go for Zach Ertz. I thought that he would be like a kind of a pairing for Wentz, you know? It's like weird. But they have...
Don't rule it out.
I know. I get it, but they have like 3 pretty decent tight ends. Because like I think Jack Doyle's pretty decent. Mo Alley Cox, had a great year last
Balls.
year. Yeah.
But for real, that's his name.
Yeah, that is his
He's
name.
a big-ass dude.
Trey Burton. So they have actually really good weapons, And then last year, Phillip Rivers took him to the playoffs.
11-5 too.
And I would think at this point in Wentz's career, he's an upgrade for Rivers. Obviously, you know what I mean. Like,
as long as he don't play like last year.
Yeah.
And I'm a Carson Wentz enthusiast.
Yeah,
I still don't like that trade for the Eagles, but we are.
I'm not a Wentz fan, but he's got talent. But the only reason I'm not a fan is because I just think he's injury prone. And it's just health for me. But if he can stay healthy, look out for this team. I see them, really doing some big things and possibly, knocking out one of the top tier teams in the playoffs. So we'll see.
I'll tell the audience this. When Carson got traded to the team, because I'm going to take a betting angle here, the odds of him being an MVP and the Colts winning the Super Bowl / making the Super Bowl, the odds were just, you could not ignore it. So I took all three of them. Little small wager. Doesn't mean I totally believe it. But I do believe Carson's a dark horse MVP. When he's with Frank Reich, magic happens. He's got everything around him. He's got the best offensive line in football. He's got Jonathan Taylor running the football, who looks like he's going to have a massive year.
Top 10 fantasy option.
Oh, yeah. And listen, audience, we're going to be covering top 10 running backs and top 10 receivers next week. So he will surely be on my list. I will promise you that. I'm not going to tell you how high, or else it's going to spoil.
But again, it also comes down to the health of Wentz too. Because if Wentz is not healthy, I don't know if I have Jonathan Taylor in my top 10. But we'll see.
Well, if Wentz isn't healthy this time around, at least he had time to recover for this. He got back before regular season. If this happened during the regular season, I will bet you the house that again I'm gonna throw this bet. Of course, Pauls isn't here. And he didn't take my bet the first time. He would have won. Yeah. Poor guy. I said that I guarantee you the Colts had a backup, and they never did. This time, I will guarantee you that Phillip Rivers will either come in via free agency or Nick Foles will be traded there if he is still available. I will guarantee it if Carson gets hurt during the season. Yeah. There is no wiggle room.
I wish Paul was here because he loves Carson Wentz.
And he loves giving us dinner, right?
Yeah. Well, I lost a bet too, though. But.
Yeah, I never bet once with him yet, but I gave him the opportunity. Yeah. It's all about the opportunity, right?
That's right.
But the Colts, they have Jonathan Taylor. They have Nyheim Hines, one of the best weapons out of the backfield, catching the ball. They brought back Marlon Mack, who is a great change of pace in this scenario because, his career was on the upswing before that injury last year. T.Y. Hilton finally reacclimated himself in the offense later in the year. I think that Phillip Rivers, honestly, just had trouble throwing to a smaller receiver.
No, I think it
that was one of the things he mentioned, too.
I think he just had trouble throwing it deep.
What
I mean? And now that he has Carson, he has a much better arm. I think T.Y. Hilton's going to be another sleeper too as well.
T.Y. came up clutch in the fantasy playoffs for people that did have him. You got Michael Pittman, who we all love here, and we mentioned him as a sleeper. He mentioned as a buy on the card market.
Absolutely.
Quick flip. Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell, speed demon. He was supposed to be a breakout guy last year. He missed the entire season. He's coming back. Yeah. Another outside weapon, more speed. Zach Pascal.
He gets
also
open.
Proved to be
he just
a nice option.
Open. Yeah.
Okay? And then you get the tight ends. Look, guys.
They're loaded.
I'm going to say this. And the defensive side of the ball, we kind of briefed on it the last show. They still got DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard as far as I'm concerned. Look out.
Oh, yeah.
Look out. They're stacked. They just got a bunch of no-names that no one knows. So, Carson, I mentioned this on our quarterback special. I think Carson also has dark horse appeal to finish in the top 10 fantasy points. And he's not going to cost you shit. You might not even have to draft him. So, I like that. I like that because it's a value pick. It's all about value in fantasy. If this guy is even half his MVP potential and is playing on that team, he's going to be fantasy relevant.
Oh no, I agree
guarantee
with that. Yeah. So he could be a nice streaming option.
Absolutely.
I know Powell's likes him as a dark horse MVP.
I do too.
That's
I
a
do
sour
too.
talking for him. You know what I mean?
But I ain't sour like him. I'm just gonna throw it out there. This is thoroughly researched. I think he's going to be a dark horse MVP candidate as long as he stays healthy. Biggest key and
Oh, you want sour too, fam?
well, maybe a little bit. But man, I just love the surrounding pieces for him.
Yeah, no, I do too, man. They're loaded on all fronts.
I mean, he couldn't be more motivated. I just think that he's gonna be lights out this year. I really do.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor, I just want to say one thing. Top 5 upside. I mean, he led the NFL in rushing yards the last 4 weeks of the season last year when they finally cut him loose. And also, like, I want to point out one thing to the people that forget how this went down. He was kind of like, everyone was, the expectations were off the chart for him last year. And he might have gotten overdrafted as a rookie. People love taking flyers on rookies, okay? He did not adjust well initially to the NFL. When he figured it out and they finally made him the bell cow back, he was amazing. Like I said, led the league in rushing the last 4 weeks of the season, and he flashed everything that you wanted to see. This is a guy who literally could be a top 5 fantasy running back in PPR. Just throwing that out there.
I cringed a bit when you said people like to take a flyer on, rookie running backs coming out. I just thought of Royce Freeman, man.
Oh, man.
He fucked me so hard. Pause, fam. Pause.
Yeah, it was.
But no, on some real shit.
You can hit that again, Phil.
Yo,
that was a major fucking.
Bro, he crushed my whole season, man. It was bad. I fell flat.
You just had PTSD.
Yeah, dude. When
mean,
you said that, I was like, fuck it. Royce Freeman came immediately to my mind.
But honestly, like those higher end running backs that get drafted in the NFL tend to perform adequately as rookies in fantasy. So I don't blame people for doing it. I thought maybe he might have been the best running back in that class. They had a lot of good running backs in that class, but he showed us that he could do it now and he could be the lead guy. And he's going to have help around him. I mean, he doesn't have to be perfect. Literally, they got Naeem Hines too, and Marlon Mack's going to be sprinkled in.
Oh yeah,
so,
absolutely.
To me, I don't mind the ADP there, average draft position. I don't mind that he might be going a little high. I would imagine it's going to be in the 7 range, just best guess. And he might go higher for some people, but he also might go lower for the same reasons. It's just because people have PTSD from the first half of the season.
He's 7?
I'm going to imagine.
Right now?
I think rankings-wise, that's right where he was.
I think that's kind of high.
Well, I'll save that for our running back rankings.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean,
I think he's got the upside to do it. So, receiving-wise, though, we just talked about it. Michael Pittman could be like one of those guys that ascends into a wide receiver 2 if he hits his ceiling. And T.Y., I'm not going to go out and say top 25 option or anything, but when T.Y. was T.Y. over his career, that's what he was.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on it is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he'll be a nice flex option. Definitely.
Like prior to
He's
this
draftable.
year, he was always drafted too early, in my opinion, and I always knock people on that. He always got drafted too high.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think they have a realistic price tag on him. Now he's investable for me.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too. Just
So-
a quarterback alone, makes me excited about his fantasy potential.
And Hines as well actually should have fantasy value. He did last year. He was I forget the ranking, but he was definitely a top 25 back.
Oh, my God, Naeem Hines. Dude,
He
I was
had a
playing.
massive year.
I played against him one week, and he had like fucking 30 points or something. He was on fire. I was playing against Seamus, so shout out to Seamus. And, bro, this guy was doing it all that week. He picked him up literally the day of the game.
Oh,
And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like, I'm about to get smoked by Naeem Hines.
that's a worst feeling, especially when they start him.
I mean, it was a great pickup. So shout out to my guy Seamus once again. But, I mean, damn, he fucking almost, like, ruined me.
So here, actually, real quick before we move on, Jonathan Taylor is ranked 7th on ESPN.
Wow.
There you go.
I'm surprised, but, we'll see. We'll see, how we rank our running backs. But
But
let's move on.
yeah, let's move on. Hold on one sec. Let me make sure. Oh, you know what? I got your card slam for you. I almost forgot. Nick, better long-term investment. While we're on the subject of Carson Wentz,
Okay.
better long-term investment: Carson Wentz or Sam Darnold? Hit me with it. Everyone take out your notepads, all right? Nick, you may continue now.
It's got to be Carson Wentz, right? I mean, like I said, the Colts are a Super Bowl caliber team. Right now, Carson Wentz prices like a 2016 Panini Prism Carson Wentz rookie is going for $435. And I've like Sam Darnold's actually really expensive. You know, Sam Darnold Silver Prism 2018 PSA 10 is going for $840. Like for me, like I can get 2 Wentzes for that price. But if you think he's an MVP dark horse candidate, I think he's a buy. Immediately a buy. You know, if the Colts go like 5-0 to start the season, his price it's going to be like $1,000 for Wentz. I firmly believe that.
I mean, realistically thinking, let's just look at it from like just a normal perspective. Take away the cards for a second, all right? I don't think you will ever be able to buy Carson Wentz this low because it doesn't get any lower than last year.
Yeah.
It don't. And he doesn't have many believers anymore.
He's a buy.
And this is also, I blame national narrative for this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they took this story and ran with it. They were looking for chaos, and they pinned it on him.
But guess what?
They forget how talented this guy is.
This is a perfect opportunity to invest in somebody like that. If you actually believe in him and he can stay healthy, he's going to go up in price. I'm guaranteeing it right now. Double.
I'm right there with you. I literally want to buy a bunch of his cards.
I know. Me too.
So,
I just worry about that. But you know what? Like sometimes I'll protect my investment. So if I did buy Wentz, I might buy, you know, a few Raul Eason cards just to have, you know, to protect that investment. Because if Carson Wentz gets hurt, Jacob Eason is going to go up in price if he's playing. So like there's an opportunity there, you know, to protect yourself. If you spend too much on Carson and you believe in him too much, you can always buy Jacob Eason pretty cheap. So I think that's a good, you know, backup option as well.
So there you go, audience. Carson Wentz, invest. Sam Darnold, no. Right?
Nah, I'm
not even investable for you.
I mean, I sold all my Sam Darnolds in the offseason when he got traded to the Panthers, so I thought that was a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, you nailed it. See, you bought him low last year when everyone should have been doing the same, and you sold high.
Well, yeah,
you made a lot of money.
He was on the Jets for like and then they were like fucking dog shit. They couldn't even win a game. So his prices were going for like $70, $80. And then like in the offseason, when he went to the Panthers, I was selling his card for about $310 to $350 range. So I literally made about 5x as my investment.
This is what people got to do. They got to look for opportunities and find the opportunities, create them for yourself even.
Because he's got talent, man. He's got talent. And that's the thing. Like the buzz would have been, I bought him based on offseason buzz. And then I flipped it. You know what I mean? So like that's how you do it. You got to be smart with like, all right, what's the next move for a certain player that's very talented, but if he gets traded, he could have a lot of buzz around him. And that's who I found with Sam Darnold last offseason. So
we're going to talk about the Panthers later in this show.
Yeah.
We could talk about it a little bit.